Welcome to Beams. I'd like to spend the next few minutes explaining some of the key features of Beams that sets it aside from other construction software. Most importantly is the fact that Beams is a fully integrated system, meaning that estimating, contracts and accounts are all dealt with in one software package. Before the user can do anything, he must log into Beams. This is with his unique password. Once he has entered it, the details from his diary come up on the screen, so he can also manage his construction diary. Updates are maintained automatically over the internet, so as soon as a user logs into Main Menu, it brings up the information regarding updates. The main menu of Beams is separated into three areas: estimation, which is pricing of work; contracts, which are jobs on site or successful jobs; and accounts is anything to do with the dollars and cents, progress payments, taxation, and so on. Within each section of Beams, Beams allows you to maintain more than one company. Within each company, you can have multiple divisions. Within each division, you can have multiple jobs, so there's no limit to the number of jobs you can maintain from within Beams. We'll load an existing job and go into Add or Edit Quantities. From this window, we can see categories or cost centers, and within each cost center, there's the items that make up its value. The tree structure of Beams is broken down to category, purpose, location, and material. So that's 4 tiers of information. Additional to that, we've got groups, so we could have multi-units within any job and maintain multiple price lists. We have color coding within Beams. Items displayed in red are simply items that have no value, so we can easily see if something is missing or has been missed. With color coding, we have different pieces of information. One of those pieces is what we call prescriptions. The prescriptions in Beams are calculations or formulas designed to generate information quickly. Items displayed in blue are what we call inclusions. We also have items displayed in maroon, which we call selection items. Both make up what we call prescriptions within Beams. Color coding is our prices. Prices in green are indicating to us that the price is sold to the customer for more than it is in our price list. Items displayed in red are sold to the customer for less than they're costing us, indicating that that's actually a loss item. That's very useful to determine price rises and price increases. We have a build mode in Beams that restricts the list to items that are simply requiring some sort of input from us. If I go into a particular job and go into CAD image, I can actually do a takeoff on screen. Minimize this menu to give us more visual room. We'll open a drawing. Now the drawings that we can open can be any image file, whether it's a PDF, a JPEG, a bitmap, and PNG files, basically any image files. First thing we need to do is set the scale, so we tell Beams lineal meters. Locate a dimension on the plan. Click Calculate and enter that value. That's the scale set. We're now free to go and measure any of the information that exists within our loaded job, and we'll see that the first thing that we see is the actual floor area of the job. And when we select any of these items to measure, the information is also displayed at the top of the screen, so we can simply navigate with the forward and backward direction arrows. So first thing we're going to measure is the floor area. It's just a process of click. You can also use the arrow keys to navigate, or the scroll key on the mouse. When we're finished, right-click to store the value, calculate to display it for our checking, and build will actually apply that information into the job with all these prescription items we talked about earlier. So these are the things that are to be included. We can see that we can change the material component to any product that's in our price list. We can double-click to bring up our material description. We can enter images of our products that are also going to be displayed on the customer's addenda. We can see here that all the prices shown are in black, which is the price that has come straight from the supplier's price list. We can change those prices, and again, if we sell it to the customer for more than it costs us, it displays it in green. If we sell something to the customer for less than it costs us, it's displayed in red. We can see auto being a calculation of the measure. If I chose to enter my own value, I would be able to. Submit Inclusions applies those to the job and brings up now the selections, which is the part 2 of the prescriptions. Here we can choose the method of construction. It could be a ground slab, it could be a timber floor, it could be bearers joists, stumps. Any selection that we make would be appropriate to the actual build of the job. When we submit those selections, anything that's associated with it comes up as an inclusion. Again, we can select anything that's within our price list. Those items are now being applied to the job and valued. Equally, another feature of Beams is what we call roofing tools. So if I'm going to create a roof panel here, I enter a roof pitch 25 degrees. I'm going to have some wastage, let's say 100 mil. We want to round to, let's say, 0.1 roof mode. If I'm using roof sheeting, let's say a roof cover of 760 mil, convert to roof. It has now designed all the roof sheets required for that job, which I could simply go and order as required. Equally, if I want to change that, rounding to 300 increments. And let's change our spacing to 900 centres. We now have all the sticks required to do the roof timber for that particular roof panel. If we wanted to build an alfresco, and let's say we want to put a deck out here on the alfresco, again, let's just get back into measure mode. I measure the area that's going to be the deck and the floor deck. Pitch 0, waist 100. Let's do 450 centres and a cross beam at 1800. As we can see, it's determined all the numbers required for that deck. Equally, in this CAD image takeoff, we have the facility of mirroring jobs. We have a superimposed function. That superimposed function is useful if the customer comes to us with a drawing that might have been created a few weeks ago, and we can superimpose it over the top to just check what differences may or may not be within the two drawings. We can add any number of tabs. So here we've got a floor plan, and we could have as an example of an elevation. So as you see, we've got the elevation showing, floor plan showing. We could continue opening tabs for site plan, etc., etc. Now from this estimate that we've created, we're able to produce a specification for the customer. This is built directly from the information that's included in this job. It has provisions for the builder and client to sign, and it includes information from within the job. You can also create your own specification notes that are to be automatically included with specific categories. Again, if images have been used, they'll also be displayed on the customer's addenda. If you're unhappy with the way the report looks, as you can see, we can create what we call custom reports. Another important function that occurs during the estimation stage is that we'll send away and create a quote register. So from within Beams, we can nominate the categories that we require quotes from, and also the suppliers that are to produce you with quotations. And this will create a quote register. And as you can see, there are items to be sent away for site works. A reinforcement quote has been sent away, as has our lintels quote. This information can be stored and attached to the construction folder. So that's the specification dealt with. That's our quotations being sent to our suppliers dealt with. The other thing that we'll do is send the customer a quote. Again, that's handled from within Beams. And within Beams, you can store your own default quotation letter or letters. They can come from libraries. You can identify from the job information you want the customer to be aware of and produce the customer's quote. All that information is generated directly from the estimate. When we go to close this drawing, it'll ask us, do we want to save? That will allow us to, as we've talked about before, superimpose that drawing at a later day. Everything is being stored. We could also produce a full bill of quantities. That concludes the estimation process. Contracts. After an estimate has been completed, any successful jobs sit in the Contracts module. This lists all the jobs currently successful. First thing we'll do is convert to contract, which allows us to select one of those estimates and convert it to a contract. We pick the supervisor, nominate the estimated start date, enter the number of days in the contract to complete this job, so it can determine, by working out weeks and days, the actual calendar completion date. It will build a call forward from the information within the plan type. Clicking Save will create all that information, create a copy of the job, and create the call forward. An example of the call forward. We see that for this particular job, all the on-site activities are listed. The progress claims are also showing when they're due to occur, all the way down to practical completion and even maintenance. These are all the on-site activities for this particular job. This information is also available to the users on an iPad or an iPhone, where they can manage the job, look at the drawings for the job, or any documents that are readable by the device. Issuing purchase orders handled directly from within Beams. And as you can see, all the tasks are displayed in a clear-to-understand menu-driven system. So to order anything, we basically locate it from within the database that we want to order. So in this instance, if we wanted to order pest control, if I open up to see what's included in pest control, I simply click the little plus sign, which will load that information in for a purchase order. I'll pick who we want the work to be carried out by. And as you can see, the items are linked to the call forward. If I change that date for whatever reason, let's say I don't want it on the 5th of April as indicated, but I want it on the 11th. First thing we're prompted to do is reschedule the job. If we reschedule the job, not only is all that information moved forward, but all the people who are caught up in that change are automatically emailed, advising them that there's going to be a change. This email notification creates an entire list of people affected by the date change. Contract variations, again, dealt with from within Beams. To create a new variation, we simply find what it is that we want to create a variation for. In this example, we'll go to sanitary ware. And currently, there's a basin in the ensuite. Let's give that back to the customer. So that's a credit, and we're going to replace that with whatever else we've got on our price list. Let's have a quick look. So let's add a basin. Location ensuite. But this time, we're going to use anything that's in our price list. So as you can see, that information is gone and we've started commencing the creation of a variation. There would be a note to the customer. Here, we could also change the marginal markup, or we could introduce a charge for administration. Say variation. This could require an extension of time. Let's say 5 days. Do we want a print certificate? Yes, we do. This information is forwarded to the customer. Once that variation is confirmed, it automatically goes into the account section and it gets issued with a progress claim. So it's impossible to lose variations or not charge the customer. So variations, purchase orders, timeline scheduling, all handled from within Beams contracts. Taking those scheduling details a step further, we notice that when we're looking at our call forward, it indicates the information just for one job. The resources window shows us all jobs, either in a week view or in a month view. This is showing all work due to be carried out futuristically. Again, the supervisor is able to maintain all this work from his iPad or his iPhone. If we select just a job from this list, this is identifying simply one job. If things are going to be moved, I can simply drag and drop. It asks, do I want to reschedule? Yes, I do. You'll notice everything is being forwarded on, and the completion date's now been shifted forward. Again, that information is also available to the supervisor on site. We can generate what we call Supervisor Reports. One of those reports is a detailed construction status report. This lists all the jobs that are currently under construction, how far they're travelling up the tree, whether they're delayed, when's the scheduled completion at a glance. Also, with Supervisor's Reports, we can monitor supervisors' performance. Again, this determines, from those call forwards, the activities that are due to occur in a given time. If those tasks are in fact carried out when and how they were intended to, you'll notice that the performance is rated for that particular supervisor. We can also monitor what we call budget reports. Now, within these budget reports, we can produce a cash flow schedule. This is handy to determine when things are going to be required on site and when the progress payments are due in to help you manage or monitor your own cash flow. We also have what we call erosion reports. Let's just unload that job. Now, erosion codes are explanations as to why something has cost you more than you originally anticipated. These can be controlled for each job and allows you to create a detailed analysis report. Also, within each job, we can actually look at how they're comparing the original estimate with any variations confirmed. Brought forward budget, erosion, which is the difference between the estimate plus variation minus budget. Committed costs, all the items we've raised purchase orders for. And as invoices start to come in, we can start to track and maintain that and clearly display a profit margin on each job. That, in summary, is the contracts module. The accounts module deals with all the financial obligations of the builder and deals with all the dollars and cents to do with managing the job. We'll start off at Creditor Invoices. Here we receive an invoice from a supplier. We enter the invoice number. He's quoted the order number as you've sent it to him. As you see, as soon as the order number is entered, it brings up what job it was for, what category it was for, the actual budget, and how much has been invoiced to date on that particular order. If we proceed and enter the value, we've entered $850 as per his invoice, and we see immediately that we're going to be warned that the value of $850 is going to blow the budget. As we see, the budget is $682. If we accept that, the second warning we're going to receive is that's going to blow the value of the order. The order was for $682. If I also agree to accept that, the third warning I'll get is that it's going to blow out my user's value, which means that we can restrict users from entering invoices that blow out the value. In that instance, we'd need to create an erosion code to explain why it's blown the budget, and then we can proceed and enter the invoice. From creditors, we go to Creditors Inquiry, which lists all the transactions that are outstanding or completed or disputed, which means it could be holding payment on certain suppliers or incomplete. Creditor payments allow us to list all the people that are due to be paid, and that could be restricted to just subcontractors or just employees, or in fact anybody throughout the system. Beams allows you to create an ABA file and make your payments directly with an ABA file compliant bank. Progress claims. If they're monitored from outside on their mobile devices, then those progress claims could be displayed in the front screen of Beams when they're ready for issue. If we're to send out a progress claim for a customer, as we see, any variations created are listed. We can see what that variation is, and in fact we can include that by double-clicking it and attaching it to a particular progress claim. We select the chart of accounts. As you can see, everything is linked to the call forward, and we would in fact update the call forward from the progress claim. Progress claim is listed, and variation is also displayed. Once the customer pays us, we go to debtor receipt, and again indicate that we've received the money, select which bank account we want to put it in, save the transaction, produce the receipt if required, and email it directly to the customer. So, creditors, debtors and progress payments are handled quite simply from within Beams. We're able to maintain debtors reports and age them by either 7-day or 30-day and show them per job if required. Items showing in red display that they are outside the credit terms. From there we go to financial reports. Within financial reports we can monitor work in progress. We can produce profitability reports. We can do standard P&L reports and also do comparisons with previous years. We can run what we call the control proof to prove the value of creditors, debtors or GST at any time. We can monitor and run cash flow prediction reports based on the fact that all work we're doing has a call forward and includes all the information that's due to occur and when all the progress payments are due to be received. As we can see, this report is from this point on, so it's futuristic. What is going to occur on site and the income we're due to receive. This will help us maintain our cash flow. Standard reports such as balance sheet, general ledger, they're also available directly from within Beams. Timesheets are maintained from within Beams, and again, if the employee monitors his iPad or iPhone, his timesheets can be created from site within the employee and keep a track of which job and trade it related to. That information goes directly into the payroll processing, where we can create payroll for any existing employees for any existing items. From payroll, we go to taxation. Also within Beams, we can manage and track the very important TPAR report and send that electronically to the ATO if required. All that information is monitored and maintained automatically from within Beams as invoices are created. Doing a business activity statement is as simple as selecting the period end date, nominating that we want to include GST, we want to include PAYG. Select the rounding account, that's the BAS report. That information also can be sent electronically to the ATO. Every business activity statement ever stored can be reviewed at any time. If we were looking at December 07, that information is immediately available. Finishing off with the accounts, we have a complete asset register to maintain all your vehicles, all your plant and equipment, and Beams will automatically create a general journal for depreciation. That concludes our Beams presentation.